Hello, this is Artie Astor from B Sharp and C. So in the comment section, people keep telling me to check out the REO brothers and have their cover of the song Sultans of Swing. And people keep telling me I'm going to be surprised. I'm just going to go ahead and let's do it. So I have it up here, REO brothers, Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits. And this is right on their website. Let's do it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I like that bass guitar.
You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, sound of the river is stopping to hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double for time. You feel alright when you hear the music ring. Step inside, but you don't see too many faces. Coming in on the rain to hear the jazz go down. Competition in other places, but the horns, they blowing that sound. Way on down south, way on down south, London time.
All right, we're about a minute and 21 in. So this is really good instrumentation. Really good instrumentation. Excellent playing. That dude's vocals are right on. He's gonna really. Have you noticed at the end of a phrase, at the end of a vowel when he sings, he's got a good depth to his voice, and I like that. It's thicker than the studio version, and I really like that. Great playing. And you can tell that there's good engineering here. There's the instruments are spread out. You have the bass in the left ear, drums up the middle, both guitars in the right ear, right? So you have the rhythm guitarist there in the plaid shirt, and then the lead singer who's playing the lead guitar. Those are both in the same ear, which is an interesting decision. I think not a lot of engineers would have decided to do it that way. I think some would decided to also move um the other guitar to a different part, not exactly in the same spot. Um, but it's there's nothing wrong with being an engineer and trying things out, seeing what works. And that's a very interesting decision. I think it's a decision not a lot of engineers would have made.
You check out Guitar George, he knows all the chords. But it's secular rhythm, he doesn't wanna make it cry or sing.
Nice
It's
drums.
an old guitar is all he can afford. When he gets up under the lights to play his thing. And Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make the scene. He's got a daytime job, he's doing alright. He can play the honky tonk like anything. Saving it up Friday night
Nice tone.
with the Sultans, with the Sultans of Swing.
All right, let's hear that guitar solo.
And the crowd of young
Oh.
boys, they're fooling around in the corner. Drunk and dressed, their best brown baggies in.
That's really nice right there, and he nailed it. It's funny. I thought that they were going to go right into the solo. I forgot they did three sets of verses and choruses before the solo. But that little ring that he did right there, it's stuff like that's really hard to do, and then it's stuff like that that kind of defined Mark Knopfler as being different, you know.
Boys, they're fooling around in the corner. Drunk and dressed, their best brown baggies
It's
in the
good, huh?
platform soul. They don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band. They don't give a damn about any trumpet. They don't give a damn.
All right, so listen to the word any. As he sings the word any, you can hear either pitch correction or auto tune being used. And the funny thing is, the vocalist probably doesn't even know it's being used. But listen to the word any, and you can hear a sudden drop.
They don't give a damn about any trumpet.
About any, right? You hear that? That wasn't him doing that naturally. That was absolutely, unequivocally, without a doubt, pitch correction or auto tune being used. And I know, I'm guessing these guys are from the Philippines. I hear a lot, I'm going to subscribe real quick. I hear a lot of people saying that, you know, the Filipinos don't use auto tune. It's a sin for Filipinos to use auto tune. We never use it. Um, you know, that's a nice way to you know, to look at things, so you have such confidence in the fact that your culture is so music driven, and I think that that's really, really fine. I just don't think that as an engineer, when an engineer sits down and looks at this and he's getting paid by the band, by the management, or by the band themselves, right? He's getting paid to make sure that when the music is released, it sounds good. And if the vocalist does something that the engineer thinks is off, and they, you know, sometimes they think I have to go in and use a little pitch correction right here to make sure that the singer is singing in tune. I think that the best engineers in the world are the ones that do use auto tune or pitch correction, and no one ever hears it. No one ever hears it. But that takes years of practice. I mean, out of all the songs I've released where I've used auto tune on my vocals, because I'm not a vocalist, I'm more of a songwriter and an instrumentalist. Out of all the songs I've released, I think there's like two that I'm proud of the job I did, where like you can't hear my auto tune. But I give myself a lot of work because I'm not a good vocalist.
They don't give a damn about any trumpet
Oh yeah,
playing band.
big time.
It ain't what they call rock and roll.
All right,
In the Sultans,
I think we're gonna get a guitar solo.
in the Sultans, they play Quill.
Nice, zoom in on that, baby.
Quill.
Nice, man. Nice. That was, you have to understand. Now, I don't know this band from a hole in the wall, so I don't know if if he normally plays with a pick. You know, I know Nisha on the Mission Souls tries to adapt or adopt the style of the guitarist. I don't, I have no idea what their backstory is. Okay, I'm still learning. Um, but that guitar solo is filled with so much feel. And growing up, you know, in the 80s, listening to that music over and over and over again, the amount of work that goes into trying to carry Mark Knopfler was showing the emotion and the inflections and the feel, and not necessarily the phrasing, just the tone and the way you bend and the way you do the vibrato, just the feel, all of it, and the tone, but really the feel. Um, that's impossible to sound like Mark Knopfler, right? So what this young guy did here was absolutely fantastic. Really, really, really good.
And then the man steps right up to the microphone.
Nice.
Say the last is just a time bell ring. Good night.
So he has a good he did a nice rake right there. Hold on.
Say the last is just a time bell ring.
You know, it's tough to rake on the guitar without a pick, and he just did it. Really good.
Good night. Now it's time to go home and make it fast with one more thing. We're the Sultans. We are the Sultans of swing. Swing.
That's nice, nice. Nice. Woo! Nice, nice, nice. Change the ending a little bit. He's a phenomenally good guitar player. Oh, nice chord. What was that? The flat five to the five. I don't know where to begin. I know nothing, and I have to be careful what I say here. But at the same time, I am not gonna, tailor, and I haven't tailored my reactions. Right, the REO brothers. Oh, of Acloban. I don't know where Acloban is. I'm assuming it's in the Philippines. Tacloban, city in Leyte, Philippines. Okay. It's one band after the next that just and they're all super young. A lot of these musicians rising up in the Philippines are of a really younger generation, but their love in their taste for classic rock and classic music is like unmatched. I don't know if I've seen another culture where it's that evident. It's super amazing. And it really shows here. And like I said, I don't know the history of this band. I don't know when they started. I don't know. I mean, I can do some research on them and find out. But they sound phenomenal. You know, and what I like about stuff like this, kind of like when I do a reaction of the Mission Souls, I can see how they grow. I don't know where these guys are in their journey, but they've definitely, from this performance right here, I can say that they've definitely found, you know, um, their calling, so to speak. They're just absolutely all of them. And that drummer, is fantastic. Right on spot. The bass was really nice too. And then of course, that lead guitar it's so difficult to play like Mark Knopfler and do it cleanly and do it exactly like he did. And that ending guitar solo, that last part of that guitar solo, you attempted something that 95% of guitarists don't even attempt because it's so complicated and so difficult to play. And I've actually heard people even tell me, like, I've seen good guitar players in front of me say, "Oh, check this out," and then they play that part from the ending, guitar solo of Sultans of Swing, and they play it, and it's all over the place. In their head, it probably sounds really good. So just attempting that is, in and of itself, just an amazing thing, and it sounded really, really good. Um, I noticed that with the engineering on the engineering side of things, a couple times throughout the song, I could hear that like pitch correction was being used. Something interesting to take into consideration when it comes to pitch correction or auto tune, depending upon how it's being used. Pitch correction is more like a manual manipulating of the notes, whereas auto tune, you configure the system. You give it a tolerance, you give it a certain amount of time after the note is sung, before the auto tune kicks in, stuff like that. Um, Dire Straits they didn't use auto tune back then, and Mark Knopfler was not a very adept vocalist. He was a great lyricist and an amazing songwriter and guitarist, but he will never go down in history as like, oh, what a great male vocalist, right? Um, he sang out of tune a lot. So when you use some type of configuration for auto tune to help you sing exactly on tune or in tune, when you have a song that is kind of memorized and understood and known to be used without auto tune, and it's out of tune. Mark Knopfler didn't necessarily always sing in tune. He kind of talked his way through some songs because he was telling stories. So when we mimic Mark Knopfler, because he's not a hard singer to copy. So when we mimic him and try to copy a song of his, in our head, we have all the inflections that he had that were not 100% in tune. But yet we're running that through a configuration. We're running that through software that is going to make it like almost 100% in tune. But we're not singing it that way because that's not how we heard it. That's not how we know the song. We know the Mark Knopfler version where he's singing out of tune the whole time. He's just kind of telling the story. That is a recipe for the vocals to be all over the place with autotune and autotune pulling the notes back in because we're trying to sing it like Mark Knopfler, but Mark Knopfler didn't necessarily follow 100% of the rules when it came to singing in tune because he took the Bob Dylan approach. Sing a Bob Dylan song. Sing a Bob Dylan song and configure autotune. And then you try to sing it exactly like Bob Dylan did, which was out of key and all over the place because he's not focusing on the singing, he's focusing on the story, right? Sing a Bob Dylan song and then use high auto tune, and you're going to hear the difference. Another thing, too, that I thought was a really interesting decision, and the jury is still out. I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing, but it was kind of distracting me a little bit. The bass being very far on the left ear, and then the two guitars being like on the same channel or the same side. Sometimes the drums and the bass are kind of like this, and then you have one guitar here, like a rhythm guitar, and then the lead guitar over here. I'm a little bit more used to that kind of engineering. So it took me a couple of seconds to kind of wrap my mind around the fact that the bass guitar was way to the left, the drums were up the middle, and then the two guitars were on the same side. But it's interesting. There's really no hard and set rule, and throughout the years of classic rock, and the Doors are a great example. I don't know what the heck they were thinking, but on many of their songs, the panning is all over the place. And there are times I prefer to listen to the Doors just on a speaker because when I put headphones on, I'm like I get dizzy almost because everything is so panned so interestingly. And interesting about the Doors, even the drummer and the guitarist, right? Robbie Krieger and is the guitarist and the main songwriter, by the way. Who is the drummer for the Doors? Oh my God, I can't think of his name. But anyways, they were criticizing the production and the engineering of a couple of their albums because the instruments were panned like so weird. But those are things that take time. Like as an engineer, when you go through releasing songs, those are things that you realize after a while. Okay, I think I want to do it this way. I think I want to do it that way. And this was what, 7 years ago? January 2021. So 5 years ago. This is 5 years old. So 5 years is a long time when you're sitting behind that computer doing all the engineering and you learn a ton of things. And the best engineers are the ones that are the most flexible. You know, they do certain things and then they realize that's my rule. That's what I'm going to do. But then when it comes to something else, they realize, okay, I have to change things or change the way I think to serve this song. And I find the best engineers are the ones that change things, take, feedback from people, stuff like that. Overall, this was just an amazing performance. And even though I just spent, maybe 3 minutes talking about the engineering, fantastic job with the engineering. I love watching people, especially from behind the scenes. When you're an engineer, you're not on the screen, you're not playing instruments and whatever, so people don't always give you attention or give you credit. I love seeing engineers work and seeing what they do and how they go about things and stuff. And it's one of the hardest jobs you'll ever do. It's super hard. And what stinks about it is if you make a mistake, then sometimes people like fans might even blame the band, right? Oh, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe the singer did that or the guitarist did that. And sometimes it's the engineer. But overall, this was fantastic. I already subscribed to their channel. I'm going to tag them. I am going to also put the link to this video when I in the description of the YouTube video. But that's it. I really do thank the people. There were a lot of people who recommended the REO brothers. I super appreciate that. If you have any other recommendations, put them here. I have a feeling because I do a lot of like Gigi Delana and Mission Souls. Yeah, I have a feeling if anyone recommends anything, it's going to be another Filipino cover band. It doesn't have to be a cover band. It doesn't have to be Filipino either. So if you have something different that you want to recommend, you can go ahead and put it in the comment section. Thank you so much. And as always, keep it groovy.